Learn the basics of iMovie in 10 minutes? Is it possible? Nah, I think so. Let's give it a try. Alright, welcome back to the channel. So today's more of a teaching video. You may already know how to use iMovie. If you do, this may not be for you. But what I want to do is I just want to show people, if you had 10 minutes to learn iMovie and you had some basic clips and stuff like that, can you learn the basics of iMovie in about 10 minutes or so? I think you can actually. I think you can know enough to, to create the movie and do some basic editing stuff and then, obviously render it out as well. So it only takes about 10 minutes. Now I'm going to do that in this video. So I'm going to bring up my screen here. I'm going to share it with everybody out there. And then I'll show you guys how, if you had a couple movie clips from your phone, you had a couple audio clips maybe, you want to go ahead and create a movie in iMovie, and you want to have some kind of titles and maybe some transitions, and then you want to render it out. Can you learn that in 10 minutes? I actually think so. All right, so right now we're looking at my screen over here, and you can see, so what I want to show you is, all I do is I have a folder here with some basic files in it. You can see it. These could be from your phone, they could be from a camera. I have a couple JPEGs actually in here as well. You can actually use JPEGs. And then I have a sound file, which is an MP3 file, which is going to be music. We can overlay it. So that's all I want to show you that's in that folder right now. And what you want to do here, so the first things you want to do here is you want to go ahead and open up iMovie. And as soon as you open up iMovie, you're going to see something over here. It says create new. You can also go up to file, and then there's new trailer, new movie, new. You want to go to new movie there. So file, new movie. I like just clicking this little plus symbol and then clicking movie right there. And it's going to open up the same basic window. So this is the layout of iMovie from, for many years it looks very similar to this. So what we're going to do right off the bat, and there's a million ways to import this. People are going to say this isn't the right way. I'm just going to show you really quickly how to do this in 10 minutes. So there's going to be other ways to do this. So first things first, click on where it says My Movie right there. See it? Click on it and make sure it's highlighted. Then drag this over just a touch. Now take all your files that you have over here. I'm going to go ahead and just select them all. And I'm going to drag all of them into this box right here where it says Import Media and then Let Go. And what you can see right away is all your files now are sitting in here, and you can kind of, you can mouse over them and see what they are if you want to, but that's not that important right now. So that's basically how you get your media into iMovie, one of the ways. There's other ways to do it as well. So beyond this, let's go ahead and start creating the movie. We only have 10 minutes here. So first things first, I'm going to take my bigger clip. You can take it up here, you grab it, and you can drag it into this timeline down here. You can see that. See that? So here's the timeline. This has got audio attached. You can see it here. So if you were to basically click anywhere on this timeline and click the space bar to the base, which is one of the main components. Sorry, that's a little loud there. But basically, it's going to play that clip, so you can see how it's going to play it, and you're going to be able to see what the movie's all about. Or you can just scrub it like this, just moving your mouse over it. You can see in the upper left-hand corner what's going on. If you want to go ahead and shrink this, you can grab it from the corners, and you can move it in like this, and you can do the same from the front of it as well. So that's how you can shorten a clip. And then you basically just reposition it to the very beginning, and it's going to obviously be at the very beginning of the movie. So that's one way. If you want to actually split this in half, a couple different, you can click anywhere on the timeline like this. You can see how it leaves a line there as I move away. You can either right click here and then click split clip, which I'll do, and see that. Now it splits this clip. Another way to do this is if you click anywhere on the timeline like that and let go, you can see how it leaves that line there. Then you can go all the way up here to, I believe it's modify, and then split clip. See it right there? And that'll split the clip just like I did with the right click if you have right click enabled. So now these are all three different clips. I can take the one I just split and I can move it back here. I can move it all around. So, in the timeline now, you can move things around, split them, make them longer, make them shorter. That's pretty simple. The audio is down here, you can see. On certain clips, if you want to, you can go ahead and right-click on it if you have right-click enabled again, and you can actually detach audio if you want, and you can get, the audio will be detached from the clip. It'll still run if you play it, and I'm not going to do that, but it'll still play, but it's going to be put kind of lower than the video here, just so you can get a better representation and see it easier. But in any case, so here's the video. Now the way that iMovie works, it's pretty simple, is you can take other clips, this is only 9 seconds, and I can actually drag this on top of this over here. And let me actually lower my volume here just so in case I do have to do some stuff here. So I just put it up here, this is the clip up here. Now if I don't want any sound on this, and I want the sound to continue down here, see this clip here? This is the sound in the blue here. You can take where this little bar is and you can move that all the way down. See that, how it says 0%? Move that to 0, so there's no sound on this clip up here now. So now, if I play the video, it's just going to play the sound down here. But the other video will come up. You can't hear it because I have it turned off, but it's very light there. So you can see how it's going to split over to this because this is on top of this layer. So anything on top of a layer will be seen. See that? So that's going to be seen over this layer very simplistically. So long story short, you can take all your other clips if you want to cut to them, and you can go ahead and drop them in. You can get rid of their volume like that. You can shrink them to how long you want that clip to be shown in your video like that. And that's very, very simple. You can even go ahead and click this, right click on it. You can split this, and you can move this around as well. So you can actually split these as well, just like you can split the main video clips. So you can't keep stacking more and more videos on top of this. Now watch, if I grab another one and I try to put it on top of there, it's not going to let you. It only has basic 2 kind of video layers in iMovie, so you got to keep that in mind. If you go with Final Cut Pro, you can do multiple layers. So that's the first thing. Second thing is, so let's just say you want to do a couple titles. Up at the very top up here, you'll see that I'm under My Media right now, and it's right there. If you click on titles, see that right there? Here's all the different titles you can choose, and it's very simplistic. You can mouse over them and see exactly what they're going to do. See that? How you can see it over there? If you like that, let's say I like this one, go ahead and just drag it again, and you can drag it over a piece of the clip just like we did these other movies. If you drag it over the clip like that, it's going to basically come into the clip just like that. Now, if you want it to obviously change to what it's saying, you can double click on it like that. On the actual click over here, and then over here you can go in here and actually change anything you want. So you can change this to anything you want, click off of it, and then it's going to obviously edit the title up there. So that's one way to do that. You can also take a title, let's just grab another one. Here's one over here. You can also put this in between clips, see that? And if you do that, what's going to happen is it's obviously going to then, as you're playing your video like this, you're going to see it come in and it's going to just replace everything because there's no video there. You didn't put it on top, you put it in the middle. So if you want a kind of a black screen in there, you can go ahead and do that as well. So that's how you would do that. So a couple things too, like I said, if you want things, let's say you have a clip like this and you want it to kind of fade in or fade out. See this? You can grab these little corners up here. If you mouse over the corners, you'll see like these little circles. If you move them, see how it slides in? And that's going to give you like a number of seconds it's going to slide in. So it says 1.22 seconds. So now if I play this and watch the clip, it's going to fade over the other one. See how it faded in? It takes about 1 or 2 seconds there, and then it's going to fade out. So that's really very easy as well. Up here again, transitions. Click on transitions up here. Same thing. In between any of these clips, you usually want a transition. Let's say this one here, cross zoom. So what I'm going to do is just drag this into the middle of the row there, and let me go ahead and play this, and you're going to see that the transition will happen like that, and it'll go to the next frame, which we actually placed in there. One more time, I'll do a puzzle here. I'm going to drag that in between the frames like I mentioned, and then I'm going to go ahead and play that, and you're going to see that it comes in between the clips. So very, very simple. And let's keep going. So I'm going to click back on media here so that I can see all my files again up here. Now over here, if you click on any of these clips, let's say I click on this middle clip, you can see how it's highlighted here in yellow, this big clip here. So now I'm on that clip. I can go up and do a whole bunch of things up here. I can go ahead and click here and I can, do auto color. I can do auto, white balance, skin tone balance. Or I can grab something like this, and if you watch, I can go ahead and make this really light or really dark. I can slide these things around to change the color and stuff like that on the actual clip. It's only going to change this one clip that's highlighted down here in yellow. It's not going to change the other ones. So you have to be very careful with that. You have to select all of them at once, and you can do that by holding down the Shift key, selecting, see how I selected both of those, and now I selected this one. Now if you do this slider, it's going to change it to all the clips, not just one of them. All right? And then a couple other things. Fit. So this little symbol here is if you drop in a picture or something that's not exactly the same size as 4K or it doesn't fill the whole screen, you can click fit and it's going to try to fit it into this frame. Otherwise you can do crop to fill, which is going to give you corners, and then you can actually shrink the video as much as you want. So there's different options there. And then Ken Burns is something I'm not going to get too much into, but it lets you gives you basically 2 boxes and it'll zoom out and into one of the other ones. So it's pretty straightforward. For this video, we're just going to do fit. The next one is going to be this little camera here. It's going to be stabilized shaky video. So if you have a clip that's very, very shaky, it's a small clip or something, you can go and click on, let me go and click all off this, but let's just click on this last one over here, so this little one here, you can click on that, you can go over here, and you can click on stabilize. What's going to happen is it's going to start thinking about it. You can see here it says analyzing for dominant motion, and it's just going to smooth out the clip overall. Now, depending on the length of the actual clip, and also depending on how much shake there is, it's going to take a little while to do that sometimes. You can see though it finished, and so I didn't need to stabilize this because I'm not moving, but it'll totally stabilize that clip. So as you make your movie, here's some pictures. You can see how in your media up here, you have videos. This is a sound file in green. And then there's a little like camera on some of them. And those are the JPEGs. So with the JPEG, it's not a movie, but it's the same thing. You can drop in any picture you want, just like that. Throw it on top. You can select another picture. We can throw it in the timeline as well. Now you'll notice if I throw it in the timeline down here, it's 4 seconds. You can see like that. It's kind of fading in. So if I click on that again, I can click over here if I don't want it to fade in, and I can just hit fit. And now it's just going to fit that in there. It's not going to fade. Watch, see that? It just stays basically the same. And that's really all there is to it. But since it's a static image, I can take this clip, go to the corner, and drag it. And I can make it 23 seconds. See that? I can make it 15 seconds. So since it's just a basic static image, I can just take this and slide it to how much I want it. Usually you want these basic clips very small, so you make them a lot less, maybe 4 or 5 seconds each. It's very simple there. Let's go back to my media here, and finally let's just go ahead, and here's the sound file that I had copied. You can get these free from YouTube and stuff. Make sure they're not copy protected, but go down and you grab this thing. If you look way down, there's like a little layer down here that has like a little music on it, and this is going to be the audio layer, and you can drop in audio way down here if you want to. So what's going to happen with this is, even though this is kind of weird, is even though it's not on top of this audio, it's still going to play. So I don't know if you can hear that, but it's basically playing right now. So let me actually just turn up the volume for this one just so we can hear that a little bit better. There we go. So you can kind of hear that in the background. So the same thing with this down here. You can actually grab, let's say you drag this. You can drag this anywhere in the timeline. So you can move it this way. You can move it this way. You can take the corners. You can make this shorter. Everything that you can with the movies. You can actually take these, go to the corner with these little bubbles here, and you can move them in, and that's going to fade in the clip. So you can do a whole bunch of stuff with this thing so that things fade in and fade out. If you don't want the music starting so abruptly, you can do that, and it's going to take some seconds to kind of fade into it and then fade out. So that's very simple. You could also grab this line here in any audio clip here, and you can move it up and down and make it louder and less loud. And you really want to keep it so that it's not peaking with these yellow marks. But depends on the rest of your sound and how light that is. But long story short, you can go ahead and just change the volume just like that. You could also select the clip itself just like that. If I see how I selected it, it's in yellow again. And you can go up and you can click on this little sound icon, and then you can go ahead and adjust the volume here as well. See that? It's 71%, 80%. If you want to go ahead and make it very, very, if you want to adjust it really easily, you can do it that way as well. So that's basically how iMovie works. Now, there's a couple little things you can do, like let's say you click on this clip, see how it's highlighted yellow. If you're on a movie clip, there's another little thing over here. It looks like a little speedometer. You can click on it, and you can speed up clips by going fast or, custom speeds. You can slow clips down. There's not a lot, iMovie's pretty simplistic as far as the things you can do in it, but you can, if you want to do kind of like that effect where it looks like you're doing things very quickly or just very slowly, you have that capability of doing that. So that's how you create the movie. So once you're done and you're all happy with the way your movie looks, you basically have a couple different options you can do. But the easiest thing, again, just for simplicity here, is going to be, if you look up here, first of all, I always save see up here in the upper left-hand corner where it says projects, I tend to click that button like that. I name it test. I'm just going to name this one test movie, if I can type, and click OK. So what's going to happen is it's going to move it back out to this first screen. So now I just double click on it again, and I'll open up exactly where I was. I can click somewhere on the timeline, but you'll notice my movie's still here. It didn't go anywhere. It's still saved. So, but I want this to render out with all these different pieces involved now to one movie, and I'll show you how to do that here. All right, so this is kind of hard to even find, but if you go way up here to the upper right-hand corner, there's like this little box with the arrow pointed up. What you want to do is click on it, and you want to go down to export file here. See it there? Even if you're going to go to YouTube and you're going to do email or something, still it's best to render it out using this export file clip. So you click on that, and you're going to notice this little box comes up here. So it's going to ask you to describe the video. You can describe it. These are tags, like if you're going to go into YouTube or something, just name it with a tag that you think is basically has to do with the movie so you can find it later. You want it to be video and audio here. Now, the resolution is important. You can pick 1080p, you can pick 4K if you did have a 4K footage, but it depends what you want. If you have 4K footage, you can still pick 1080p. It's going to make the file size smaller. See it there? See, it says 452 megabytes, but if I change this right now to 4K, it's going to be 1.12 gigabytes. So you can change the quality of it. And then quality, you can have high or you can have ProRes, which is going to really change this. Watch this, 10 gigabytes. So I don't like to do that. I like to just go with high, which is only going to be 1 gigabyte. It's not that much of a difference. And then compression, I always usually go better quality instead of faster. It doesn't change this at all. And then you basically click next. And at this point, you would just name the actual video, whatever you want to name the final, the final product as, and then click save. I'm not going to do that right now, but after you click save, there's going to be a little bubble that comes up in the upper right-hand corner like a pie, and it's going to go around like a clock. And it's going to tell you when it's 100% rendered. You have to wait for that to finish, and once that's all finished, your video will be rendered and they'll actually be putting it in the correct folder. So you'll be able to go into Finder, and then you can go ahead and search for the video that you just created. So that's really all there is to it. I just wanted to show you basically how to create your first movie if you've never done it before. Very, very simple. You can fool around with a lot of this stuff up on the upper corners up here. Obviously there's certain things you can do, certain things you can't, but it's all self-explanatory. I always say just make a test video and just fool around the best you can, and see how things are stabilized, see how you can crop things, change the colors, all that kind of stuff. But just to understand that this is the timeline down here. You can really only put one video layer on top of it where it cuts to it. You could also put titles on top of that second layer or down here. You can put audio down here. You can detach audio. You can slide the audio slider here for volume levels. And you can select all different clips in a timeline like this by holding the shift key down so that all three there's, and you can kind of color correct them all at once. And then finally just render them out. And that's really all there is. I mean, it's very, very simple, but I'll go through I'm going to go through a whole video one day to show people how to do this, and hopefully it'll make a lot more sense at that point. This is just a quick, if you had to do it very quickly, this is all there is to it. So let me know what you think. I know I went through that quick. I just want, if you've never used it before, give it a shot, fool around with it. And in a little while, I'll probably do like a full-fledged series on this just to show people how to do like green screens and all these. You can do special effects and moving stuff. It's difficult because, well, green screens are very easy. But the other things, moving things, are a little bit more difficult just because of the way, it's got limited functionality. But you can always do it. You can do it with a combination of Keynote or something else. So I'll show you guys how to do that one day. This is how you get started. I say if you have a Mac, download iMovie. It's free on the App Store, and go ahead and fool around. And we'll talk to you next week, actually in a couple days. Peace.